1950s, Johnny Devlon moved to Australia, starting a trend that other New Zealand musicians later followed.
What's happening? Are they still tearing their shirts off? Well, they're getting up on the tables in the hotels, and they're dancing, and they're having a ball and raving on regardless. And of course, when I want to leave the stage, they don't want me to go, and it's great.
In Rotorua, 4 young men take to the stage, and they became the first musical act to be seen on New Zealand television.
We weren't above anybody intellectually. We spoke the same in the same vernacular, and we sang songs that had a hook of that common touch.
And we all liked them, didn't we? Mum, Dad and the kids, they sang all the old favourites with their own special flavour and style. Those lads had style, didn't they?
I guess for the younger generation now, it would be hard to explain how people would come out to see local artists such as ourselves. We were doing two shows a night, 3 on Wednesdays and 3 on Saturdays. Noel Kingi was only 16 when he came into the group, and yet he had an upbeat version of White Cliffs of Dover. Heresy in those days to sing White Cliffs of Dover, up-tempo. But the people loved it. Bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover, tomorrow, just you wait and see, just you wait and see, baby, just you wait and see, oh baby, just you wait and see.
Played by local artists.
Blue Smoke it was by the Ruru Karaitana Quartet. Of course, today you buy your music on CD or on tape, but in the 1960s, she was all vinyl. Stiff vinyl at first and then bendy vinyl. And remember the gentle hissing sound as the needle went down onto the record and made its way into the first track. And there was a new sound on our records. British music invaded the entire Western world. Beatlemania swept the country when the Beatles toured in 1964. Young girls swooned across the nation. Each girl had a favourite Beatle, and the girls mobbed the hotels in which the Beatles stayed. Teenage boys in New Zealand watched, disgusted, and slightly put out. She's a mod, she's a mod, she's a mod, yeah, 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 yeah. She's a mod, she's a mod, yeah, yeah, she's a mod, she's a mod. She won't change anymore. Soon we had our own pop stars, and none was more popular than Ray Columbus and the Invaders. They loved She's a Mod so much in Perth, the crowd made the boys play it 9 times. They didn't want to hear anything else. Straight from London, new music and new fashion was beamed across the world into our lounges. Mary Quant, Carnaby Street, thigh boots, miniskirts, and those eyelashes. So naturally, we produced our own television version of what was hot in pop. We all got dinner out of the way early on a Saturday night to watch Come On, hosted by Peter Sinclair.
Right, so there's Come On In, the music's fine. On this, the final Come On show for 1967. If you're switched on, switch in.
I used to walk you home. I used to hold your hand. You used to use my umbrella.
I was, what, 23 or something? Young family, making a living in the entertainment industry. It's pretty fantastic.
I'm your witch doctor, got the evil eye. I got power, yeah, to make you cry.
Oh yeah, it was recorded straight through as one show. Frantic. I mean, you had to be on your mettle because, you know, otherwise you were going to get bowled by a camera or something, you know.
Your witch doctor, got my eyes on.
You were kind of a prop. You know, you had your mark, you had your cameras to work to, you know, you had your song to sing, which had been pre-recorded. So you just had to be there and do it.
And a new one from guest artists on the show tonight, the 2 Charming Chicks.
I was only 13 and I was told, stand there, wear this, look that way, that's a camera, start singing when the music starts, and you did, you know. And if somebody said, sing that, you didn't even think about whether or not you could sing it, you just simply did it. When we first started out, I don't think we really appreciated the enormity of it. We were given straight away the best musicians for our first album, and the Hucklebuck, the very cream of the talent in Auckland. And we didn't know who they were or anything, you know, but we soon learnt. You'll have my voice, you won't forget me. Our first song we recorded was the Hucklebuck, which went straight to the top of the charts here, which was fairly unique. And of course, Ron Dalton said we have to have an image. In those days, the image was very strong. So I remember him walking us down Queen Street, and he spied these jumpers in the window, and he said, 2 of those, and we got the jumpers, and then a little bit further down the street, white boots, 2 pairs of those. And that was it, the chicks were born. I miss you, baby, I miss you, baby, miss you, yes I do.
Come On was fast-paced, snappy and stylised.
Daylight saving time, you're gonna give me more time to find love with my baby.
Our performers would usually record songs from overseas, and then we mimed them for television.
I get by with a little help from my friends. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
And so popular was the show, it toured the country. A new galaxy of New Zealand stars was launched.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on,
Groovy, man. However, there was one group on Come On who were very, very popular, but they remained individually nameless. You never knew their names, never. Stars in their own right, the GoGo Girls. Every Saturday evening, the GoGo Girls were right there, gyrating balls of energy behind every act. Da-da-da-da. Studio One.
Different. Oh, scary. Yes. Just smaller.
Let's make you feel a bit, well, will it make you sad coming in here? Keep going. Well, it's been
All memories. Just memories. No, good memories. Full of images. It was so exciting.
the girls go by. Eye to eye, they solemnly convene to make this scene.
But it was an exciting break to get, though, eh?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, really exciting.
It was so good. It was just
And the
an
music, adrenaline rush.
Do you feel a bit of the old excitement in here?
Oh, I do. Yes.
Gosh, incredible.
You want to start?
So reckon we could.
Show me a woman who's got a good man. Now show me. Come on, come on, sister, come on, together. There's no use in crying away because there's too many fish in the sea. Too many fish in the sea. So much color.
And in the middle of all of this turmoil, this pop revolution, a young girl was receiving singing lessons in a convent. Kiri Te Kanawa won major New Zealand singing prizes in the 1960s, and she won fans aplenty. Throughout New Zealand. In the late 1960s, no country act was bigger than the Hamilton County Bluegrass Band.
Big leg hog walking in the yard, made 3 steps and just one died. Never says who you think I am, lad. Hot wrist and a barrel on a ham. Hey,
On the pop scene, another Maori entertainer was rising in Kawerau. He would go on to sing in Las Vegas. He was the first New Zealander to have a hit in the British charts. Sounding awfully like Tom Jones, he was John Rowles.
When God created a woman for me,
John immortalised his sister with the song Cheryl Moana Marie, later parodied by certain wits as Share Marijuana with Me.
Cheryl Moana Marie, someday our waiting will end. Safe in my arms she will be, my Cheryl Moana
And the 1970s is remembered as a time of the TV talent quest. On shows such as New Faces and the Lock Scene Golden Disc Awards, obscure performers could hit the big time.
And here's our new face number 3 tonight, Brendan Dugan, just 16 and mad about country and western music.
Do what you do well, boy. Do what you do well. Give her your love and all of your heart and do what you do.
Or suffer the vitriol of a panel of experts.
Okay, Jim, this is where we really get stuck in, so you can tear it apart.
Less than memorable in every respect.
I'm not saying you're no good, but for TV performances you need a lot of ideas, fellas.
Mama's gonna make a living.
Then there was the group who hit the big time as New Zealand's answer to the Osmonds, the Hammond family. The Hammond children had entered a talent quest on the Fair Star when the family was emigrating from Northern Ireland. They won the contest and the family kept on singing after they settled in Tauranga.
Looking back at the old times, it just makes you laugh, you know.
Mama did a baby lunch, short and red.
It was fun at the time, and I think it's probably more special now when we do get together because we have times together and we get together and have a bit of a sing-along.
Said for the doctor said, those doctors were short and red.
We looked up to those sort of artists like the Partridge Family and the Osmonds, and obviously to give you something to go on.
But I certainly would have liked to have seen just how far we could have gone with it.
I think the family could have stuck together a bit longer. We could have, we could have achieved a lot more.
Hello, everybody, let's dance. Bump, shoo up, dance, dance. Bump, shoo up, dance, dance. Bump, shoo up, dance, dance.
Don't you want one of those shirts? Well, if the early 1970s threw up a little too much sugar and spice for us all, that was all about to change when the youth of New Zealand embraced the latest import, punk rock. If parents of the 1950s couldn't understand rock and roll, they were positively perplexed by the noise and the antics of punk. Just look at them, pogoing like crazy, all of those restless, dangerous, ghastly hormones. Band members took on names like Destruction and Sheer Apathy. Suddenly, anyone could be a musician.
Johnny takes his art very seriously.
And a group of dedicated musicians calling themselves Split Ends were starting their musical odyssey. Led by the highly motivated, highly talented Brian Finn, or Tim Finn as he became known, the band had hits in Britain, Australia, Canada, and, of course, in New Zealand.
Just who are these madcap merchants of mercurial madness?
They were a strange bunch, Split Ends. They wore makeup, for one thing, hardly the sort of carry-on you'd expect from New Zealand blokes, even if they were musicians.
I became more of a man when Noel started caring for my hair. I was having an awful lot of trouble with girls, and I sort of put it down to the fact that I wasn't taking care of myself properly, you know what I mean?
But they were original. For the first time, original songs about New Zealand that the world loved. They sang about Aotearoa, about Te Awamutu, where the Finn brothers were born. The imitating was coming to an end. And when the 12-year career of Split Ends ended in 1984, they'd proved New Zealand music could cut it anywhere, in New Zealand and Australia. they were superstars. And today in New Zealand, so fragmented is the musical market that there's room for split ends and a whole variety of other musical tastes as well. What that means, of course, is that the phenomenal sales of Johnny Devlon's version of Lordy Miss Claudia in the 1950s would be virtually impossible today. Unless the song were an ode to Jonah Lomu, of course, but whatever. Each song recorded in this country further defines and notes for all time our musical identity and the way we were.
My gal don't go for smoking, liquor just make her flinch. Seems she don't go for nothing except my big 10-inch record of the band that plays the blues, band that plays the blues. Like the sun, dear, upon high.
Hamish Macbeth ducks taking the credit again, next on One. His tactics in House of Cards and to play the king will
From this series of